Shalom, Salaki, Israel. Bear with me 1 second.
Welcome to Atlanta. Christ, this Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Commended Junior Honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta. Christ, this Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Commended Junior Honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom.
Shalom, Israel. We the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. It's the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class where we break down the scriptures from a linguistics perspective. Salaki, we all good to go. Salaki, bear with me 1 second. As I adjust my screen. Good night. But again, this is the Lashawan Qadash class where we break down the scriptures from a linguistic perspective. We do what your Christian pastors are ill-equipped to do, which is teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. Where we break down the scriptures, word, line by line, book, chapter, verse, line upon line, precept upon precept, and we go into the Hebrew. We go into the language that the scriptures are written in. And the language that the Bible is the language of the people, Salakia, the language of the people that the Bible is about. So we can get a full 360 scope of what the Bible is actually talking about. Salakia. Bear with me 1 second. Salakia. Salaki, forgive me. You might notice that we're not at our usual location, but we still gonna get the work done, all right? But with that, if you got any questions or comments or concerns, you go put them in the chat, and we'll answer all your Lashawan Qadash related questions and address all your Lashawan Qadash related comments. Like we said before, Salaki. Like you said before, good night. The Hebrew, the Lashawan Qadash, which is the holy tongue. Lashawan meaning holy or separate, and Salakia, Lashawan meaning tongue or language. And Qadash meaning separate. The Lashawan Qadash, or the Hebrew language, is the separate language of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. When you see those Christian pastors and those what you call them, the evangelists, and the deacons and all of that, and them LGBTQ members up in that Christian church doing that crazy dance and all those crazy things that you see up in there, that is not holy. That is not what holy is, and that is not, what they like when they up in that Christian. When they up in that Christian church, hey, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah, I see you, brother, strong officer, down here or up here in Cincinnati. Most High in Christ, the water for tuning in. If you got any questions or comments as well, you feel free to, put them in the chat or anything like that. But you see, when you see those evangelists and those deacons and those bishops and those LGBTQ members in that Christian church, and they doing that, that crazy dance, and they claiming to be able to speak tongues and things like that, which is something that they constantly say up in that Christian church, that's an absolute lie, right? That's an absolute lie because they just, they, first of all, if you can't tell that that's an absolute lie in that Christian church, Lord be with you, you in bad shape, because they in there just babbling, they hashkala ba ba la ba ba la ba. That's them actually making a mockery of the separate language that the Most High gave to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's just as plain and clear cut as I can make it. But them doing that, that's not them speaking in tongues. Them just babbling, that's not them speaking in tongues. Tongues is languages. That's language. So how we speak our oppressor's language. We speak our oppressor's tongue. You know what I mean? Us that speak English. You know what I mean? Those of us that speak Spanish, we speak the Spaniard's tongue, which is another oppressor. Those of us that speak patois, or what's that joint called? Portuguese, patois, Creole, French, any of these languages that don't belong to us, those are another nation's tongue. You know what I mean? The reason why we speak another nation's tongue is because your oppressor beat your tongue out of you. Your oppressor beat your language out of you. So that's why we speak these other languages. So when you hear speaking in tongues, or you hear about speaking in tongues or things like that, so like, let me see if I can find them. But when you hear things like that, when you hear speaking in tongues, you know what I mean, that's referring to languages. You know what I mean, that's all that means. So we came to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans their initial tongue. You know what I mean? Because the only way to get your oppressor's language or your oppressor's tongue out of your mouth, you know what I mean, you have to learn your tongue. You have to learn your language. You have to learn how you spoke prior to colonization. You have to learn how you did things prior to colonization. And that's what the ISUPK is all about. If you want to learn your culture, your identity, and your heritage prior to your colonization, I mean, you go ahead again. You know, tune in to Lashawan Qadash class. Tune into any classes. We have classes. 5 days, or so, like, not 5 days, 7 days out of the week. So tune in and get your real culture and identity back, so that we can get out of this hell. So lock it. Because part of being in hell is being subject to whatever your oppressor wants you to do. I mean, part of being in this hell is being subject to speaking your oppressor's language and not being able to understand your brother, your sister. The only thing that you can understand is the commands and the, you know what I mean, the rigorous labor, the rigorous command that your oppressor gives you to make you a better slave. You know what I mean? So like, you bear with me 1 second. So lock you. All right, Salaki. Let me get back to it. Salaki, let me. All right, we should be back. All right, so that's the whole purpose of the class. You know what I mean? Again, if you got any Lashawan Qadash related questions or comments or anything like that, put them in the chat. We'll get all of your questions answered. All right. In the meantime, let me enlarge this portion of the screen that I got shared. Let me know if you could see that clearly. If you could see that clearly, you know what I mean, you tuned into the class, just put a 1 in the chat. All right. And if you could hear me, and if you could hear me and see me clearly, put a 1 in the chat. If not, if there's any audio or visual issues or anything like that, just let me know. We'll try to get them fixed as soon as possible. All right. But got my screen shared to Bible Hub. If you've been in the, you know what I mean, if you've been tuned in to Lashawan Qadash class, then you know that Bible Hub is a tool that we use to be able to read, write, and speak the Lashawan Qadash and be able to break it down. If you haven't been tuned in to Lashawan Qadash class, just you can either download. I recommend doing both, but you could download the Bible Hub app, or you can just go online like I am now. If you're using like a laptop or anything like that, you can use the online website, Bible Hub website, and it'll take you to, let me see, it'll take you to this screen here. It might look a little different on your phone, but what you want to do is, I don't know if you can see that on the screen where the cursor is hovering over, but you see the portion that says interlinear or interlin. It's abbreviated on a laptop. Well, let me see. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what it looks like on my phone. Let me enlarge my screen real quick. Salakia. Bear with me. Let me go to it on my phone. Let me just reset it so I can show you from the beginning. All right, so when you open up Bible Hub on your phone, it's going to look like this. And in this bottom corner, it'll say interlinear. That's what it's going to look like on your phone. So you click interlinear, and it's going to show you the breakdown of the language that the book is written in. This is the New Testament. So the New Testament was translated from Greek, but that's the language that we spoke in that time. And then it's going to have the English underneath. Then it's going to have the concordance codes. You go to the Old Testament. If you're on your phone, you just go to you got the book, chapter, and verse up at the top. So it says John 3:16 because the Christian church loves John 3:16. So it's going to take you to John 3:16 immediately. So what you want to do is go to the book, chapter, and verse, and go to whatever book, chapter, and verse we're going to be breaking down tonight. You know what I mean? Lord allow, we're going to get as much of Exodus, the 11th chapter, as we possibly can tonight. We'll get as much as Exodus, the 11th chapter, pending any questions or comments. I see you, young man Jermaine. Hey, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah. I mean, good to see you. All right, I see your question. Young man Jermaine says, Salakia, can you break down the salute? All right, Most High Christ. Excellent question. We're gonna go ahead and break it down. I mean, excellent question. This is the foundation. This is an excellent question because this is gonna be the foundation of like how you read, write, and speak the Hebrew. All right. Let's see. But it's gonna be the foundation of how you read, write, and speak the Hebrew. All right. And as I break it down, right? I just want you to understand that everything that we do in the Lashawan, like everything that we do, all the tools, you might notice and this is a perfect question for tonight's class as well. So excellent question, young man Jermaine. You know what I mean? As always, you know what I mean? This is a solid brother. This is an excellent question. This goes right into the topic because the title of the class is Identifying Hebrew Concepts. All right. And just in the Hebrew salute, right? There's so many concepts that we use while reading, writing, and speaking the Hebrew. There's so many foundational concepts that you see as we salute one another every day. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that you learn when you come into the truth. When you come into the ISUPK, you learn how to greet your brothers, greet your sisters. You know what I mean? So even just like a baby, you know what I mean? Just like a baby, you use these concepts every day. Sometimes, like that's how, you know what I mean? Sometimes we don't even know that we use them, or most times, rather, we don't even know that we use them. But in the salute alone, if you learn how to salute your brothers, if you learn how to greet one another, then you're gonna build that's a good way to build your foundation. All right. So the salute for brothers, like the brother got in the chat, all right? It says shalom. All right. So I'm gonna write it in English and I'm gonna break it down in Hebrew. Shalom. Yahweh. Let me see. Y'all see that all right? Make sure y'all see that okay. You see, I might have to reverse the camera. Let's see. For camera. And then I'm gonna just boom. Okay. So we good now. All right. So let me know if you can see that all right, young man Jermaine. Let me see if you just let me know if you need me to write a little more clear. Let me know if you need me to write larger, small, or whatever the case is. And I'm gonna break it down. I'm writing down the English salute, and then I'm gonna break it down in little pieces. All right, just to let you know. But if you need me to do anything to help, anything further to help you understand, just let me know. All right. All right. And but my point is, right, everything that you see in the English, or it's like not in English, in the Hebrew salute, when we salute one another, there's gonna Most High Christ the water for your swift response. You know what I mean? But everything that you see in the Lashawan Qadash salute, when you salute brothers or sisters, all right, you're gonna see so many concepts, and that's, you know what I mean, that's everything. That's everything in the Lashawan Qadash. It's just small concepts, and you just put them together to be able to understand big things. Just like English, you know what I mean? Big words are just small words smashed together. Phrases and sentences and paragraphs, things like that, they're just small parts put together. You know what I mean? Paragraphs are made of sentences. Sentences are made of words. Words are made of smaller words. Small words are made of, you know what I mean, different parts to make a bigger thing. You know what I mean? That's all the Lashon Kodash is. All right. So the salute, Shalom, Yahal, Ba, Hashem. All right. Let me see if I can squeeze this in there. You know, I'm gonna wait just for learning purposes. All right. So the brother said that looks tawab. If any other brother or sister is having a hard time just being able to see this, you know what I mean, just let me know and I'll make an adjustment. All right. All right. So I'm gonna start with the first three parts. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem. All right. Every brother or sister should know or at least be familiar, because I know the sisters don't. Y'all never say Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh, Shah, Barakatah. Y'all never say that. You know what I mean? The sisters say Shalom, Yahweh, Shemar, Latah, Bahashem, Yahweh, Shah. You know what I mean? Y'all say a different salute when you greet brothers or sisters. Y'all say the same thing. Brothers, you know what I mean? When you greeting brothers or sisters, you say, when you greet a brother, you say Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh, Shah, Barakatah, or Barakathum, depending on who's in the room or how many, whether it's one person or another or a group of brothers, will determine whether you pluralize it. And then for sisters, you say Shalom, Yahweh, Shemar, Lathan, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, or Alatha, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Again, all of these are different concepts that you, again, learning the salute gives you a whole bunch of different concepts. But point being, as a brother, you have to learn two salutes, all right? Which have different concepts and things like that, all right? And we're going to go over both. You know what I mean? And this is, we're going to go over both and we're going to get all the concepts out of it, all right? So, first of all, before we go any further, let me just review this real quick. So, when you're reading the Lashawan Qadash, right, or writing or speaking the Lashawan Qadash, each phrase, which is, let me go back to the Bible Hub, right? Each phrase, and I'm gonna zoom in, all right? Each phrase, and I'm gonna highlight. Let me see if you can. Good night. So if you can see that, if you can see what's highlighted on the screen, those bunches of characters that are joined together like that, those are phrases, right? Those are Hebrew phrases, right? And each one of those clusters of characters, right, that make up phrases, they Salakia. Each one of those clusters of characters that make up phrases, they will contain one of either one or a combination, any combination of, 1, 2, 3, or all four of these concepts. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna let you know which concept or what it is. So it's gonna have a root word. All right. These should be in your notes. But if they're not in your notes, write them down. Right, as I'm saying them. So number one, you're gonna have a root word. As a matter of fact, let me write it down here. So one, there we go. You're gonna have a root. All right. Your root word is gonna be tied to the concordance code. Right. So that's how you identify your root word. So I'm gonna use this phrase. I'm gonna use this phrase right here that I got highlighted. The root word of this phrase is going to be tied to this concordance code. So the concordance code 5650, or the number that you see there, that's going to reveal your root word. So you click that concordance code, and that's going to give you the context of what this phrase is about. So the root word of this phrase, 5650, is ibad, which means to serve, or servant, slave, bond servant. It depends on whether it's being used as a verb or a noun. In this case, it looks like it's being used as a verb, or it's like a noun, which means a servant, slave, or bond servant. All right. We're going to go back. But that's going to be the base. That's going to be the base of, you know what I mean, the phrase. It's going to be the base of what we're talking about. Good night. And then everything else is going to be attached to the root word to build off of that root word. All right. So then you got your preposition. Lock you. Your preposition. Your preposition is a character that's attached to the beginning of your root word. All right. Your preposition is going to be a character that's attached to the root word. You know what I mean? So, or it's going to be attached to the beginning of the root word, rather. So, like it. That's what the preposition is going to be. And it's going to give some context on what we're talking about. Then you got your possessive. Your possessives is going to be attached. It's going to be a character that's going to be attached to the end of your root word. Your preposition is going to be prepositioned or be attached to the beginning of your root word. Your possessive is going to be attached to the end of the root word. It's going to give the root word a little bit more context. It's going to be talking about, it's going to show ownership. You know what I mean? If necessary, where necessary. All right. And then the fourth part is going to be tenses. Tenses. The fourth part is going to be tenses, all right? And it's going to show, you know what I mean? It's going to show, it's going to, again, give a little bit more context to the root word. And it's going to, you know what I mean, round out the phrase to help you be able to express exactly what you're trying to say, basically. You know what I mean? So if you gives a past tense, present tense, future tense, you know what I mean, things like that. What's it called? Pluralization, servile tense, doing tense, things like that. Feminine, you know what I mean, things, all of those different types of things. So when you're breaking down the Lashawan Qadash, you're going to want to look for every time you see a phrase like what you see highlighted on the screen or what you see I got zoomed in on. Every time you try to break down each one of those phrases, you want to try to be able to identify each one of those parts, right? And it's not going to be all four. You're not going to see all four in every single phrase, but as necessary, you're gonna see each part as necessary. So if the phrase isn't necessary to show possession, you're not going to see a possessive in there. If there's no necessity for a preposition, you're not going to see a preposition. You know what I mean? If there's no feminization tense or there's no doing tense, there's no necessity for doing, you're not going to see it there. Sometimes there's no necessity for a root. Sometimes it's just a preposition or possessive or two possessives. You know what I mean? Just dependent, right? With your prepositions, if you need additional, you know what I mean, if you need me to go into the prepositions or possessives, you know what I mean, just let me know. But at this point, I'm assuming that brothers and sisters have your prepositions and possessives in notes. You know what I mean? But if you don't, no problem. If you're new to the Lashawan Qadash, no problem. We can go into it and get a full understanding of the Lashawan Qadash. All right. But until then, you know what I mean, I'm assuming brothers and sisters got the prepositions and possessives in your notes, and the prepositions, possessives, and tenses in your notes, right? And it's important, you know what I mean? We did several classes on cheat sheet, you know what I mean? What should be on your cheat sheet, how to use your cheat sheet, what to add to your cheat sheet, things like that. So what would be wise is if you don't have a cheat sheet, which is one sheet that you could just reference to be able to break down the Lashawan Qadash, it would be wise to just create one. You know what I mean? So whenever you read a Lashawan Qadash, you just reference your cheat sheet and be able to break down anything. Or if there's something new that's not on your cheat sheet, or if there's a new concept, you can ask that question in Lashawan Qadash, and then once you get the answer, add it to your cheat sheet. All right. But all of these concepts that I just briefly went over, I'm assuming is in your cheat sheet. And that's what we're going to use to break down these phrases. All right. And just like any, like what we got on the screen right there, just like any script, book, chapter, verse, any scripture that you could see in the Bible, the salute is, you know what I mean, is just a bunch of phrases that can be broken down just like we just went over. All right. So the first word in the Lashawan Qadash salute is shalom. Shalom. All right. Let me select it. All right. Shalom. Right. Shalom just means peace. Shalom. All right. Not shalom, because shalom would be adding a wa in the middle, right? Instead of shalom, you got shalom, right? That would be adding a wa in the middle, which would make shalom peace, but with a doing tense. The doing tense, or the wa in the middle, is like saying ing, like in English. Like instead of saying run, you're saying running. Instead of saying go, you're going, right? It's like making a verb present tense. All right. So to say shalom would like be saying, instead of saying peace, which is what you really want to say when you want to salute a brother, like these fake Israelites, you know what I mean? When they say shalom, what they really mean is peace. What they really mean is peace. They want to say peace when they want to salute a brother as a greeting. But instead of saying peace like they want to say, they're saying piecing. You know what I mean, they're saying it like a doing tense. Like instead of saying run, they're saying running. Like if you know what I mean? Let me see. Let me see if I can use an example. Like if you want somebody to, you know what I mean, you wanna, you know what I mean, you telling you somebody is in danger, right? Somebody in danger. You know, I know a lot of us grew up in the hood. They shooting, right? They shooting in your neighborhood. You might hear gunshots, and you know sometimes it might get a little too close for comfort, right? So you might be in an altercation. Absolutely, what the brother said was absolutely correct. I mean, that's why we always say what the brother said is absolutely correct. Well, that's why we always say we are not affiliated with no other Israelite group. I mean, we can't be affiliated with when you break off from the home of the truth, you start to do things, you start to deviate from the culture of our, you know what I mean, of our people. You know what I mean? That's what happened with Adam and Eve in the garden, where they started to deviate from the culture that the Most High gave them. And what happened? You know what I mean? These curses started to come. They started to do strange things that the Most High didn't teach them. You know what I mean? That's why the Most High told Abraham to leave his family, because they were doing things that was strange to, you know what I mean, that the Most High didn't, you know what I mean, that the Most High didn't teach them, that the Most High didn't pass down to them. You know what I mean? That's why the Most High flooded the earth in Genesis, the 6th chapter. You know what I mean? When Noah had to build that ark, because our people started to deviate from the culture that the Most High gave us. So when you break off from the home of you break off from the home of the truth, you start to do things that are strange. You know what I mean? That are disgusting in the sight of the Most High's eye. You know what I mean? All right, but that's where you get shalom from. So the proper way to, when you want to say peace, it's like, you know what I mean, when if somebody's shooting in your neighborhood and you like, I mean, bullets getting too close for comfort. When you tell your brother, you tell your sister, you tell your daughter, you tell your son, you tell your wife or your husband, you say duck. You know what I mean? Duck. You know what I mean? You wouldn't say ducking. That's not what you would tell them. Or run. When you tell them run, you know what I mean? Get out of here. You wouldn't tell them running. You wouldn't say that because that wouldn't make sense. They would look at you strange. And that's exactly how we look at brothers and sisters who say shalom. It's strange. And it's not how that's not how it's spoken properly. You know what I mean? I know when brothers and sisters say shalom, they think they're saying peace. You know what I mean? So usually, like out of brotherhood, when a brother or sister says shalom and they got fringes on the bottom of their t-shirt, which is, you know what I mean, the scriptures say we wear fringes on the borders of our outer garments. You know what I mean? You wear fringes on the borders of your garments. You know what I mean? This is the border of your garments. This is the border where two pieces of fabric meet. That's a border. And it's on the outer part of your garment. So this is an outer garment. Like this jacket that I got on, this is an outer garment. This t-shirt that I got on, that's not a garment. That's not an outer garment. This is an undergarment. Right? So when we see people that put t-shirts on the bottom of their or their undergarments, when we see people who put fringes on the bottom of their outer garments, you know what I mean? Or we see people who say shalom, you know what I mean? We'll greet you. We'll still greet you out of brotherhood, but it's strange. You know what I mean? You say shalom, and we'll say shalom. You know what I mean? You wear t-shirts on the bottom of your underwear, and we wear fringes on our garments, like the scriptures say. Out of brotherhood, we'll still greet you. We'll still, you know what I mean, deal with you. We'll still speak to you. But, you know what I mean, we know that you're not with us. You know what I mean? Like this, well, let me see if I can find it. Well, never mind. I don't want to deviate too far off the topic. But when we see you, you know what I mean, we'll greet you, we'll speak to you and all of that out of brotherhood. But we'll just know that you're not with us. You're not of us. You know what I mean? But so the greeting is shalom. It starts with shalom. You know what I mean? And if you look at the scriptures, where the greeting or where shalom or peace was used as a greeting, it says shalom. You can find shalom in the scriptures, but it's not being used as a greeting. When it's used as a greeting, one brother to another, or one sister to another, or one sister to a brother, or brother to a sister, it's shalom. All right. And that's what you'll see in Bible Hub. That's what you'll see in you know what I mean, in concordance. But shalom is just, it's like peace, or like it's like peace in present, or like you're making peace. It's like something you're doing, right? But okay, so that's the first part, right? Shalom. So shalom is just a root word. Shalom is just a root word to mean peace, right? Yahweh is the Most High's name, right? Yahweh is the Most High's name. You go to Exodus, I believe, the 15th chapter and the 3rd verse. Let me make sure I got it. Yeah. Exodus, the 15th chapter and the 3rd verse says, in the English, it says, the Lord is, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get it. All right. Let's see. As a matter of fact, I'll get it on my phone. So, like, you bear with me. I just want to be as accurate as possible. So, Exodus 15:3, it says, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. That's what it says in the English, right? But if you go to that same book, chapter, and verse, right? I'm going to go to Bible Hub, right? Exodus. And then I'm gonna go to Salakia. Come on. There we go. Exodus 15:3. Same book, chapter, and verse. So we just read in the English, it said, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name, right? But in the Hebrew, right there, what you see is Yahweh. Yahweh. Right? And when you read it in the Yiddish, right? When you read it in the Yiddish or the bastardized Hebrew, it says Yahweh. But we know if you have the what's it called? The Hebrew workbook and textbook, you know what I mean, developed and written by Yale scholars, you know what I mean, it'll say on page, I believe it's page 3, could be mistaken, if it's on page 3, where it says originally in the original Hebrew there were no vowels used. So you know Yahweh can't be correct because that E sound in the middle is a vowel, and that's a sound that wasn't initially used. The Hebrew is Abba Gada Hawaza Khata Yaka La Manasa I Pataza Kwa Rasha Ta. It's all Abba Gada Hawaza. You know what I mean? And all those characters are used as consonants. You know what I mean? All of those characters use as consonants. But what they did in the Yiddish was they added, I don't know if you can see, let me enlarge my screen real quick onto the, let me see, onto the Hebrew. But if you could see, there's dots and dashes above, underneath, and in the middle of certain characters, right? That dot and dash system is called the Gesh in the Yiddish. And that dot and dash system was used to add vowels that initially in the original Hebrew wasn't there. All right. But in the original Hebrew, Salakia, but in the Lashawan Qadash, the holy tongue, the separate language of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, before we were colonized, there was no, you know what I mean, dots or dashes. There was no dagesh. There were no vowels implemented into our language. The reason why these vowels and these dots and dashes were implemented in our language is because another nation that spoke a different language, that spoke in a different way, you know what I mean, that wasn't the separate people, the holy people of the, you know what I mean, who are the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the ones that the Most High chose and separated. You know what I mean? They took our language and decided to use it for their own and try to manipulate it to fit into their European, you know what I mean, to fit their European tongues. You know what I mean? That's how you know that this is not the language of the so-called European, because they have a different tongue. You know what I mean? They don't speak the separate tongue that the Most High gave us. They speak a different tongue. I mean, that's why they had to manipulate our tongue or our language to fit their European tongue. And that's why they had to take that away from us. But, so it's not Yahweh, Salakia. It's not Yahweh. It's Yahweh, you know what I mean, in the Hebrew. So when you see in Exodus 15:3, where it says, the Lord is a man of war, the Lord is his name, what it's saying is Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. It's showing you right there in the scriptures what the Most High's name is. All right. So let's get back. All right, so Yahweh. All right, so that's the beginning part of the salute. So Shalom, Yahweh, Salakia. So Shalom, Yahweh. Good night. Now this is the part, you know what I mean? This is gonna be a more it's gonna be a more intricate part, right? This is where it gets a little bit interesting, right? And it starts to get into the topic. We're gonna be breaking down and identifying Hebrew concepts. So we got Bahasham. Let me see. Bahasham. Ba Hashem, right? That's the phrase. I think there's another fake Israelite group, you know what I mean, that likes to call the Most High Hashem, the name, right? Right, which goes into the next point, right? That is not the Most High's name. I mean, that's just another example, like the brother said. I mean, that's another example of fake breakoff groups who, you know what I mean, deviate from the culture that was passed down from, you know what I mean, that was passed down straight from our culture and given back to us from the Most High to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans after there was no, you know what I mean, we didn't have a culture. The only culture we had was the culture of our oppressor. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean, through the mercy and grace of the Most High, he put our culture back into this earth, you know what I mean, so that we can know who we are as a people, right? But there are those, you know what I mean, there are people, there are other Israelite groups who instead of, you know what I mean, who are disobedient children, you know what I mean, who wanted to be, instead of coming through the ranks where brothers come in, you know what I mean, you got a 90-day period where you know what I mean, you go through a 90-day probationary period where the brothers observe you, you know what I mean, you get cleaned up, and you know what I mean, from the things, from the filth that you learn from the world and from your families, you know what I mean, and all those different things. And then once you go through that period, then you become a trooper, where you're not allowed to teach, you know what I mean, and you just have to be silent and learn and come to class. You know what I mean? You might have to move a couple chairs or two, you know what I mean, read things like that so that you can learn your culture. And then once you learn, you take a test and then become an officer. You know what I mean? Those who didn't want to go through that process, you know what I mean, of learning our culture, learning this Bible, you know what I mean, from the ground up, from those that laid this foundation, they wanted to be, you know what I mean, the heads of their own organization. They broke off and they started their own thing. So now you got people who say Shalom. You got people who call the Most High Ahaya. You got people who call the Most High Yahweh. You got people who call the Most High Yah or Jah. You know what I mean? When the J is not in the Lashawan Qadash alphabet, the J wasn't added into the English alphabet, I believe, until the 1400s. But you got people who got people who call the Most High Jehovah, which again, that J is not in the wasn't added into the alphabet until the 1400s. You got people who call the Most High what is it? Hashem. You got people who call the Most High a higher thing. All, you know what I mean? All those different things like that. You know what I mean? Now you got all this confusion. All right. But none of those things are true. But the Most High's name is Yahweh, right? It's not Hashem. I'm going to show you what Ba Hashem means, right? Hashem just means the name, right? And the easiest way to be able to break down the any phrase is to find the root word, right? So if you read it in Bible Hub, the easiest way to find the root word of anything is just to click the concordance code. If you click that concordance code, then it's going to separate everything from the root. It's just going to give you the root word. All right. But for time's sake, I'm going to just underline the root word. So any root word that you see on this board is going to be underlined in blue. All right. Your root word here is shum. Shum, which is name or reputation, depending on how it's used. So name, like when you come up in the truth, you know what I mean? You do your 90 days, and then your camp leader, your captain, you know what I mean, the men above you, they'll give you a name. Your name is based on your reputation. You know what I mean? Well, even when we salute one another, Yahweh Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah. Yeah, when we pray, you know what I mean? Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shah, in the name of Yahweh Shah, in the reputation of Yahweh Shah. You know what I mean? Because the only reason why we aren't cut off, you know what I mean, which I don't get why there's also Old Testament Israelites, since we're talking about fake Israelites. You know what I mean? I don't understand why there's Old Testament Israelites, because the only way that you can be you know what I mean, that you can be quote unquote, you know what I mean, you can have or let me say this, the only way that you can have an opportunity at salvation is through the New Testament, the new covenant that the Most High made with the Israelites, because the Old Testament we broke. I believe that's in the Hebrews. I believe the 13th chapter, 15th chapter. Let's see if I can find it. But the old covenant we broke. Long story short, the old covenant we broke. So the Most High had to make a new covenant with us. You know what I mean? But it's like you. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. Salaki, give me 1 second. Salaki, that's the only way that we can, you know what I mean? That's the only way we can have an opportunity to, you know what I mean, clean ourselves up and be a part of the new covenant and be rejoined to the Most High because of the reputation of the the reputation of Christ. You know what I mean? So the word shum is reputation or name, right? So that just leaves Baha Shum, you know what I mean, to be interpreted. So Shum means name, right? Let me write it here. Salakia. So Shalom means peace. Yahweh is the Most High's name. Salakia. Shum means name or reputation. Reputation. All right. Hey, go to mama. All right. Shum means name or reputation. So Ba and Ha, right? Ba and Ha are both going to be, or as a matter of fact, you know what I mean? Anybody in the chat, tell me what these are. What is Ba and Ha? If Shum in this phrase, right? I mean, let's see if anybody paying attention. Let me see if, you know what I mean, especially, you know what I mean, young man Jermaine, you know what I mean, this is your question. So I will hope that you will still be locked in, all right? So if you're still in the chat, go ahead and let me know. So Shum, based on what we just talked about, based on what's on the board, right? I'm put the parts of the phrases that you're gonna need to be able to break down any phrase. So the first is a root word, second is a preposition, 3 possessive, and 4 tenses. You know what I mean? Shum is the root word. When you're breaking down any phrase, the easiest thing for you to do is to be able to separate the root word from the rest of the phrase so that you can figure out what else, you know what I mean, what everything else is and how it affects the root word. All right. So if shum is the root word, then what do we have highlighted in red? All right. Anybody, you know what I mean, anybody in the chat could go ahead and answer that. But if shum is the root word, that means name or reputation. Then what is Baha Shum? What is Baha? What part is that? You know what I mean? And it's one of the, I'll give you a hint. You know what I mean? It's one of the 4 steps that you see on the board. All right. Give you a quick little second to get back to me. All right. Come on now, this is Hebrew 101. I mean, if you ain't got this on your cheat sheet, if you don't know, just put a 2 in the chat. You know what I mean? If you don't know or you're not sure, just put it. Okay, I see you, young man Jermaine. He said root. Not quite. All right. So like you give me 1 second. I'm gonna break it down. All right. That was an excellent. I appreciate your participation. I see ISUPK Buffalo. Oh, I already know who this is. This got to be Officer Yaquataza. You know what I mean? I see. Let me know. Is ISUPK Buffalo, New York? That's you, Officer Yaquataza? I mean, let me know something. Oh, so your quarters I said was, I see it. Yeah, I already know what it is. Most High in Christ. Hey, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah, that mighty brother in Buffalo, New York. The brother said was absolutely correct. All right. Shum is the root word. All right. Shum is the root word. So with that being said, ba and ha, because they are in front of the root word, or they're, and it's in the name, preposition is pre-positioned to the root word. All right. So it's positioned before the root word. All right. So because these two characters, ba and ha, are before the root word, I see you, brother. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Brother said he teach Hebrew. You know what I mean? It shows. You know what I mean? But the two characters, ba and ha, because they're before the root word, then that makes them prepositions. All right? Or you can usually assume that they're prepositions. And we go, lock you. Slack you. Most High in Christ, I see you, brother. Most High in Christ. The water, you know what I mean? We appreciate your service. But okay, so ba and ha are prepositions, possessive tenses, things like that. They just give your root word context. They tell you who we're talking about, what we're talking about. They give a little they give some specifics to the root word. Whereas you know what I mean, if a root word just stands alone, you just saying, like if I just say shum, it just says name or reputation. We don't know whose reputation. We don't know what's the relevance of this reputation. Why is it being mentioned? There's no context to this word. It's just the word reputation or name, right? We don't know the significance of this name or whose name or what name, or you know what I mean? We don't know the specifics. All right. But prepositions, you know what I mean, they give a little bit more context. So ba, if you got it in your notes, and if you don't got it in your notes, I will write it down. All right. Prepositions typically give like what's the words? They're like kind of, they say they mean like or they kind of, what's the word? How can I explain this? It's like they help your phrases, or they help your sentences flow a little better. You know what I mean? So it's like saying in, on, to, or in, on, he, you know what I mean? His, what else? And words like that. Like, you know what I mean? Just little, I think they call them conjunctions in English. You know what I mean? Just little words that go in between like subjects and you know what I mean, between what the subject and what the subject is doing, you know what I mean, to help the sentence flow. And, he, it, the, he, things like that. So with that being said, ba is a preposition that means in or on, depending on the context, right? And you'll know the context, you know what I mean? You'll know the context based on what you read in the English and what the intention is. All right. And then ha, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Ha is a preposition that means the. So ba hashum, I'm gonna show you real quick. Ba hashum just means in the name. All right, in the name. So instead of just having shum by itself, you add baha. You add baha to the front, baha shum. Now you're saying in the name, right? And now you see, now you're able to identify certain concepts. So, you know what I mean? This is how any phrase, and we're gonna continue with the greeting, but what you're gonna see is in every concept, or it's like in every phrase, you're gonna see these same concepts, these same four concepts that you see right here. A root word somewhere in there, if at all, if necessary, a preposition if necessary, a possessive if necessary, and tenses if necessary. You know what I mean? You might see all of them together. You might see one or two. You might see a random combination, or you might see you know what I mean, two prepositions, like you see here. Baha, that Baha Shem has two prepositions. You might see two possessives. You might see you know what I mean, two tenses. You might see a doing tense and then pluralization tense at the end. You know what I mean? But it's going to be you're going to be working with this list of, you know what I mean, 4 things right here. You know what I mean, those are going to be your main concepts. So that's what I want brothers and sisters to focus on tonight. These 4 concepts that you see on the screen: root word, preposition, possessive, tenses. Those are the concepts that you're going to want to identify, and that's how you're going to read the Hebrew. That's how you're going to be able to write the Hebrew, and eventually through practice and dedication, you know what I mean, just like we was practicing and dedicated to learning our oppressor's language, you know what I mean, you're going to be able to learn to speak the Lashawan Qadash. You know what I mean, so we can get our oppressor's language out of our mouths. All right, so we're going to go to the next we'll go to the next couple phrases. All right, I'm gonna try to get through this. Try to get through this real quick. Bahashem. All right, and this kind of goes into what I said a second ago. So the last phrase was Bahashem, in the name, in the name of who? In whose name? As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get this real quick. Let me see if I can find this. So lock you. Jeremiah, there you go. Jeremiah 31 and 31, and it's also in Hebrews 8 and 8. Salakia. So I was a little bit off. So I thought it was Hebrews, I can't remember what I said. I think it was like 13th chapter. Hebrews 8 and 8, and Jeremiah 31 and 31. I'm gonna go to Jeremiah 31 and 31. So also just want to note, and as a matter of fact, let me put it on the screen real quick since we're talking about it. Let me see. Let me find it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Slack it. Bear with me. There we go. Just want to share this with you real quick. We're going to go to the book of Jeremiah. Good night. Get out of here. Book of Jeremiah. (31) and 31. All right. All right. Salaki. I know this is Lashawan Qadash class. You know what I mean? But this is very important for this next part. All right. So this is book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. You know what I mean? So what you got to realize, these Christians especially, I mean, what you got to realize is this covenant that the Most High is making is not with, you know what I mean, any other nation, because the old covenant, you know what I mean, they like to say that the old covenant was done away with, you know what I mean, and that the new covenant encompasses all nations. But what you read in here, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So this new covenant that you see is not with any other nation, you know what I mean? It's not with any other nation. It's with the people, the nation of people that the Most High made the old covenant with. You know what I mean? It's with the nation of people that the Most High made the old covenant with. So this is a new covenant. You know what I mean? Because why is this a new covenant? Let's go ahead and read on. Verse 32. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. You know what I mean? Who was brought out of the land of Egypt? The Israelites, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So this covenant isn't according to the covenant that he made with them. You know what I mean? It's not according to the one. Why? Which my covenant they break. So that's why it's not according to that covenant. You know what I mean? A Christian will read this and say that this means, oh, it's not like how they, you know what I mean, how he separated us. It's like, you know what I mean, he's trying to, your Christian pastors, you know what I mean, and any Christian alike would try to use this to say that this covenant is to join all nations together. You know what I mean? Because they want to save your oppressor. At the end of the day, whenever a Christian say God loves everybody, or you know what I mean, whenever a Christian say God loves everybody, they're really talking about white people. They're really talking about their slaves master. Because nobody really, when they say all people will be saved, and it's they fighting for your oppressor to be saved. That's what they're fighting for. Why? Because in that Christian church, that's what they've been looking at. They've been looking at that white Jesus. You know what I mean? They've been waiting for that white Santa Claus to come down your chimney. You ain't got. You know what I mean? You've been looking at these white prophets on the or white apostles on the what's it called? What's that joint called? The Painting of the Last Supper, which was Caesar Borgia. I believe his image painted like 3 or 4 times. His wife and his sister, you know what I mean, that disgusting bastard who was, you know what I mean, Lucretia Borgia, who was depicted a few times in there, and then Michelangelo, who was depicted a few times in there, you know what I mean, as the apostles. And I believe the father of Lucretia and Caesar Borgia was depicted in there a few times as well. But because you've been looking at images like that, because they cover the faces of the judges thereof, you know what I mean, you've been looking at the Sistine Chapel with the you know what I mean, a white Adam and a white, you know what I mean, God, fingers touching. You know what I mean, you looking up at white baby, naked baby angels and things like that. Now all you're looking for is a white man that'll save you. You know what I mean? But that's not what this is talking about. It says, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break. We broke the old covenant, right? Although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. You know what I mean? Which is a metaphor that the Most High uses often, and Christ uses often when he talks about the children of Israel and the relationship between the children of Israel and the Most High. He usually compares us to children or a wife or I believe it's one other, or sheep. You know what I mean? His flock. You know what I mean? But those are just metaphors that he uses, as Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans use often. All right. Verse 33, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. There it go right there. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. So this new covenant is with the house of Israel. You know what I mean? After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So this new covenant is for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And who ushered in, who was the pioneer, for lack of a better word, or who was, you know what I mean, who carried, you know what I mean, the new covenant, you know what I mean, in the New Testament. Who was the New Testament about? You know what I mean? It's about Christ and his death, you know what I mean, and his sacrifice and what he taught, you know what I mean, and what he taught Peter and what he taught Paul, you know what I mean, to pass down to the other disciples, you know what I mean, and the other apostles. And, you know what I mean, who wrote, you know what I mean, who held down, who, you know what I mean, took up the mantle and, you know what I mean, when Christ passed, they held down the school and, you know what I mean, held down the school and continue to raise brothers up, you know what I mean, and continue the work of Christ. You know what I mean? That whole New Testament is about Christ. So that's why when we salute one another, Salakia. That's why when we salute one another, we say Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, in the name of Yahweh Shah. You know what I mean? In the reputation of Yahweh Shah, because that's the only way Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have an opportunity to, you know what I mean, be reunited with the Most High. You know what I mean? Be his people again, like it says right here. You know what I mean, or in the previous verse, rather. That we can be, right here actually. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. That's the only way we can be the Lord's people again, if through the reputation of Christ. You know what I mean? Which is why it's so evil as well. You know what I mean? Which is why it's so evil as well that the Christian church says that Christ is God. You know what I mean? Because the whole point of Christ's reputation is to show us how to, you know what I mean? The whole point of the reputation of Christ is so to show us how to follow the law. You know what I mean? To show us that we could do it, because he came in sinful flesh. I believe that's definitely in the book of Hebrews. But he came in sinful flesh. It behooved him to be made like unto his brother, so he could be a faithful high priest to his people. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so evil for these Christian pastors to say, good night, Slacky. That's why it's so evil for these Christians and these Christian pastors to say that Christ is God. You know what I mean? Because it takes away, you know what I mean, your ability. You know what I mean? It takes away the purpose of, you know what I mean, his reputation. It takes away the purpose of him even, you know what I mean, doing what he did. It takes away the purpose of his death. It takes away the purpose of his life. You know what I mean? What the brothers say, Slakia. The Christianity philosophy wants oppressors to escape judgment. That's absolutely correct what that brother said. You know what I mean? And that's because of what the brother said is absolutely heavy. You know what I mean? Because Christianity, you know what I mean? The reason why Christians want your oppressor to escape judgment is because of slavery. Because of slavery. Because of the things that they did during our captivity to make us good slaves, to make us forget who we are as a people, like it says in Judas, the 5th chapter. You know what I mean? They want us to forget who we are as a people and deviate from our law so that they can destroy us. You know what I mean? So they did a great job of destroying Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I mean? That's why now you look in every Christian church and what do they got? You got Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans dancing around in the Christian church, carrying around candles in that Catholic church. And even though they abuse your children, even though they abuse your wives and abuse the men in there, even though they raise up the Christian church is an LGBTQ factory. I don't know if you knew that, but the Christian church is an LGBTQ factory. They mass produce LGBTQ. You know why? Because they are constantly abused in there. They're constantly abused in there. And what are you dancing and singing and screaming and begging and pleading to save you up in that Christian church? What's on every mantelpiece? When you close your eyes and imagine Jesus Christ and you imagine the Most High, what do you see? You know what I mean? You see that white man, you know what I mean? Caesar Borgia, that white depiction of Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? And that's why what the brother said, he said LGBTQ IUIC factory. Them a lot of letters, brother. Them is a lot of letters to beware of. But you know what I mean? The reason why the Christian church wants your oppressor to escape judgment is because that's all you've been seeing in that Christian church. You've been seeing a white face depicting Jesus Christ and Christ, the Most High and Mary and the disciples and the prophets and Moses and you know what I mean, David. You know what I mean? I think they coming out with a animated movie called King David. You know what I mean? And this is being depicted by some, you know what I mean, some pale skin, you know what I mean, some pale skinned devil. You know what I mean? You ask any Christian and you ask them if there's color in the Bible, they're gonna say no. They're gonna say absolutely not. Color is not in the Bible. You know what I mean? But that's why you know what I mean, Christian, like the brother said, Christian philosophy wants a pressure to escape judgment. Let me see what this brother said as well. And sir, that also proves that we are living in the new covenant just by giving the salute. Damn right. What the brother said is absolutely correct. And that's the whole point of the class tonight. I mean, or that's the whole point of the salute, rather. You know what I mean, that's what we, like the brother said. What the brother said is absolutely correct and on point. You know what I mean? Because when we pray as well, you know what I mean, we say by Hashem Yahushua, in the name of Christ. You know what I mean? When we salute one another, by Hashem Yahushua, in the name of Christ. You know what I mean? We're doing everything in the reputation of Christ. And that also, you know what I mean, shows that gives what's it called? That gives acknowledgement that the Most High, or that gives acknowledgement that that Christ is not the Most High. Because, you know what I mean, everything that we do, the way we dress, the way we move, the way that we deal with one another, you know what I mean, the way we deal with our women, the way we deal with our brothers and our children, you know what I mean, that shows we're trying to operate in the reputation of of Christ. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the New Testament. Brother said, Sakari is fired too. Yeah, all of these, you know what I mean, all of these fake Israelite groups are, you know what I mean, gonna be, you know what I mean, obsolete soon enough. You know what I mean? Which is why we constantly say we are not affiliated with any Israelite group. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. You know what I mean? And that's love. That's brotherhood. That's brotherhood right there. Because we cannot be affiliated. If we were affiliated with any other Israelite group, then we would, then it would make it harder for brothers and sisters to find out who they are as a, you know what I mean, as a people. I mean, if we try to concede, or we try to we trim our ways to seek love. I believe that's in the book of Jeremiah as well. I mean, if we trim our ways to seek love, then we would have to water down, you know what I mean, the very thing that's going to save us. And that's not how we're going to get out of this hell, by watering down, you know what I mean, by watering down the thing that's going to save us. All right. So let me see. Yahushua Barakatha. Yeah. Yahushua Barakatha. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get these last three phrases. All right. Yahushua. Let me see. So like we were just talking about a second ago, what the brother said real quick. Let me put it on the screen. Salakia, sir. Salakia, sir. Salakia. I'm trying to read it. Forgive me if I'm slurring my words. I got a real bad toothache. So bear with me, brothers and sisters. I'm you know what I mean? I'm trying to hang in there. Salakia, sir. It will look really bad on us as a nation. That's why it's no affiliation. Absolutely correct. Like Captain Tazariak said, you know what I mean? He said that no affiliation looking real good. It sounded real good right now, huh? You know what I mean? Brothers looked at us like we was being real unbrotherly. You know what I mean? Let me, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna touch on that. But you know what I mean? That's what the brother said is absolutely correct. You know what I mean? What the brother said was absolutely correct. Because again, when you start to deviate from your culture and identity, or when you start to deviate from what the Most High gave you, then you're going to start to do strange things. You're going to start to do strange things. And that's what got us cursed in the beginning. You know what I mean? That's what got Adam and Eve kicked out the garden. That's what got, you know what I mean? That's what got the earth flooded, you know what I mean? In the time of Noah. That's what got Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed, because we were doing strange things. You know what I mean? And the Most High said that we're not to follow after these strange customs of the heathen. You know what I mean? That's what got Samson caught up. He was dealing with a strange woman and got him destroyed. That's what got Samson or King Solomon caught up. Where he had strange wives. I mean, when we start to do strange things, when we start to deviate from our culture, that's why we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. All right. Salakia, let me. Oh, okay, I got it. Salakia, I just had to recall something. All right, so Yahushua. All right, Yahushua is Christ's name. You know what I mean? Yahushua is Jesus, which is translated from the Greek. Joshua, which would be the English translation. But Yahushua is the Hebrew. All right. You can look this up in the Apocrypha when it refers to Joshua and Caleb. It says Jesus. You know what I mean? When you see Salakia. But or you see the book of like you look at the book of Joshua, right? The book of Joshua is titled Yahushua. Right. So Yahushua is Joshua or Jesus in the Greek, Joshua in the English. All right. If you need a deeper explanation, just let me know. But you know what I mean? That's just what it is. Just I just don't want to deviate from the topic, so I just want to get through this real quick. We getting a little bit close on time. All right. So Yahushua means Joshua, but just like any other brother's name, and this is what this is why and shout out, you saw the video at the beginning, the Passover, is I believe is what date is the Passover? Somebody put in the chat box. I believe it's correct me if I'm wrong, 12th, April 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia. But that's why going to the Passover is so beautiful. That's why coming into the ISUPK and uniting with your brothers is so beautiful. That's why coming in learning the Lashawan Qadash is so beautiful. And coming to the ISUPK, going through your 90 days and getting the Hebrew name from the men above you that studied the Hebrew and go through the proper channels. Instead of naming yourself. That's why it's such a beautiful thing, because again, the water, young man Jermaine. April 12th. That's what I thought it was. The water. Brother Officer 500, Yaquatazar. The water to y'all brothers. That's why it's such a beautiful thing. That we coming together, that we in this one body. Because when you learn a brother's name, you learn in Hebrew. You're learning root words. You're learning what is it? Salakia. You learn a root word. You're learning sight words. That's what I was looking for. Sight words. The more brothers' names you know, the more sight words you got under your belt, because you know that when you build a brother's name, it's built off of root words. Like my name, for instance, Call Kazah. Call is all in the Hebrew. Chazah is see, or like seeing, like visions, or like a seer, like a prophet. Most High in Christ, it'll be excellent to see, Jermaine. And Lord willing, by the time next time I see you, you'll have yourself a Hebrew name as well. That'll be an excellent thing. I'm gonna be, Lord willing, I'm in Cincinnati right now. I'm in my hometown right now. But Lord willing, next time, by the time I come back to Texas, and make my way to Dallas, you'll have yourself a Hebrew name as well. But that's why it's such a, it's such a great thing as far as our culture, for us to come together, because we get to learn one another's name. And when you learn one another's names, you're learning the Hebrew. We're going to find that out right now. So Yahushua is Christ's name, right? Yahushua is Christ's name, but it's built off of, just like anything else, it's built off of what you got. It's built off of a root word, prepositions, possessives, and tenses, just like anything else. All right. We're going to break it down real quick. So the root word, just for time's sake, all right? I'm going to just give it to you for time's sake. All right. So the root word is hawashai, right? Hawashai. Hawashai is delivered. That's the root word, all right? Delivered. All right. You know that because of the you know what I mean, Salakia. You know that because of the Lord's Prayer. If you in Sabbath service, you know what I mean, when we go over the Lord's Prayer at the beginning and the end of class, we say Hawashai Noah, my young Ra, deliver us from evil. Right? Hawashai Noah. Hawashai means deliver. Noah is a, read my mind, a possessive. Where we at? It's a lot. Possessive. Noah is a possessive that means we or us. You know what I mean? So Hawashai Noah means deliver us. So the root word in Christ's name is deliver, which is Hawashai, right? Yah, right? And this is why it's so excellent to learn brother's name. All right? That's why it's so excellent to learn brothers' names, your sisters' names. Right? And I'm gonna give you a little, you know what I mean, a cheat code, right? So Hawashai means deliver. Yah is a preposition that means he, his, or it. All right. So Yahawashai means he deliver or deliverer. You know what I mean? Deliverer. That's what Christ's name means. Joshua or Jesus. That's what that name means. It means deliverer or he delivers. All right. And just, you know what I mean, as a mental note, when you hear a brother's name, not always the case, but it's a good place to start. You know what I mean? And it's a good place to start in sincerity, especially if you're trying to learn the language and learn brothers' names. When you hear a brother's name that starts with a Yah, what's good? What's good, mama? Go to mama. Hey, good job. Blue. Yes, that's blue. Go to mama. But when you hear a brother's name that starts with a Yah, like Officer Yah Ramak in North Carolina, I believe that means his javelin, or he's a javelin, or something like that. You know what I mean? But that Yah at the beginning means he, his, or it. Our brother Yah Bakan in Houston, Texas. Bakan means test. So Yah Bakan, he is tested. You know what I mean? If brother, you know what I mean, your Quatazai, if you in the chat, let me know what your name means. Because you got a Yah at the beginning of your name. So let me know what your name means, Baba Kashai. You know what I mean? See if that shows my point. All right. Damn right. That brother right there, you know what I mean? He right on point. You know, he right on point. You know, he was very spitting that came in the chat pretty fast. I'm sure you was on it before I even asked the question. So Yah Quataza, he is on point. So that Yah means he. You know what I mean? All right. So Yah Hawashai, he delivers or deliverer. All right. And then the last part, Barak. Barak means bless or salute. You know what I mean? When we stand and salute, we say Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah. You know what I mean? All right. So Barak means bless. All right. And then Atha. Right. And I told you at the beginning, just to Oh man, colored on my damn pants. So like it. At the beginning, I told you that each phrase can be broken down into 4 parts: a root word, a preposition, a possessive, and a tense. All right. And it could be any combination. So not every phrase is gonna have every part. You know what I mean? And this is a perfect example. Atha. Is a preposition that means I, and the is a possessive, I believe. Can't remember. I don't have my notes in front of me. But it means you. You know what I mean? I believe it's a preposition, but it means you. A the is just a formal way to say you. You know what I mean? And when you break it down, it just means from me to you. So the. So means I, the means you. Right? So that's all that means. So Yahweh is the Most High's name. Bahashim means in the name. Well, so like Shalom is the beginning of the salute. Shalom means peace. Right? Yahweh is the Most High's name. Right? Slakia. Bahashim means in the name. Yahweh Shai means Christ or the deliverer in the name of Christ. Barak means bless. Atha means you. A thumb, when you say thumb, that means y'all. You know what I mean? Or plural. You know what I mean? A thun with a na at the end or an N sound at the end, that means plural females. A thumb is masculine or general. I mean, because when you're talking to a mass of people, you're talking to the men. The Most High, like it says in the scriptures, the pastor of my flock are men. I mean, so when you're talking to a general mass or you're talking to the general public, you use the masculine tense. All right. So a thumb is when you're talking to several people, several brothers. A thun is when you're talking to several sisters. So in the sisters salute is Yahweh Shemar Alathan by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so that's the you know what I mean, that's the salute. That's the salute on the or the brothers salute breakdown. We might have to do a part 2 on identifying Hebrew concepts. But just to bring it back full circle, the whole point of, or the easiest way to understand the Lashawan Qadash, easy way to learn the Lashawan Qadash is to just learn the 4 steps. The 4 steps is the Hebrew concepts. You know what I mean? And that's the easiest way to learn anything. Just break it down into concepts. And once you can learn the concepts, then you learn the Hebrew. You know what I mean? You don't need to try to tackle it all at once. You don't need to try to you know what I mean, break it down all at once or try to understand it all at once. Just understand the small building blocks, understand the small concepts. And once you start to understand the concepts thoroughly, then you can put it all together, and then boom, now you learn the Hebrew. I mean, but with that, you know what I mean, we'll go ahead, dismiss the class. I want to say Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Brakatham to all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Latham Bashem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. And make sure you like, share, subscribe to the class if you haven't already. Make sure you share with all your loved ones so that they can learn our culture and identity as well. If they're Black, Hispanic, or Native Americans, so they can get the hell up out of this hell. And if you're not watching this class live or whatever the case is, or if you have more questions or anything like that, you can hit that QR code in that corner. And morning, noon, and night, there's going to be a brother in that chat to be able to answer all your questions and solve all your problems. You know what I mean? With that, Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Brakatham to the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shemalatham Bashim Yahshua to all the sisters. Good night.
Welcome to Atlanta. Christ, this Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under commended junior honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom.